Plus Wrestling Podcast. Watch global. Support local. It's the B Plus Wrestling Podcast.
The move.
You might not be an A, but you are a B plus.
Check it out. Here we go. You wanna mess with us? 'Cause we're steady on the ground, steady on the ground. You wanna mess with us? 'Cause we're
All right, ladies, gents, and non-binary friends, welcome to another B Plus podcast. We don't know what day it is because it's the Patreon bonus call-in show post-WrestleMania weekend extravaganza. Joining me, of course, as she does on these call-in shows, my good, close, personal friend, Danders. How are you?
Living large. If there's some crunching noises, I'm eating pretzels.
Yeah, and if there's some slurping noises, I'm sipping Lemsip because I'm freaking sick again because children are germ buckets.
Fucking sexy time we are.
Yeah, I'm starting to come around to your anti-children ways, Danders. But yeah, WrestleMania weekend happened, and then we've had Raw and SmackDown and everything. I know you're about to record the WWE podcast with CJ, but let's spoil it. What are your thoughts? How are you feeling?
So
coming out of it?
boring. I was so underwhelmed.
Yeah.
Oh, WrestleMania was awesome. Like, one of the better WrestleManias I can remember. I don't want to say it's the best because I just want to give it some time to mellow. Because I remember I thought 32 was really awesome. After I just watched it, I was all pumped up, and then I was like, a couple of months later, I was like, it really wasn't. So
Yeah.
I'm just going to let it marinate. Raw and SmackDown have been very underwhelming.
Yeah. Yeah, I felt that too. I feel like they made a really big mistake on Raw with that whole, we're going to unify the titles, psych! Like, I feel like,
Dumb.
yeah.
And like, where are all my fucking call-ups?
Yeah,
where are my
right.
call-ups?
There weren't any. But
That Lars Sullivan, the crazy right-wing douche lord.
that's because they did it. Earlier, right? Like they brought up Blackachet and they brought up DIY and stuff. Like they pulled the trigger early because they were like, our ratings are terrible. And then they had nothing for post WrestleMania. So let's get to some of our callers and see what people think. Let's bring in Chapo first off. Chapo, how you doing, man?
G'day. Not too bad, man. Yourself? G'day, Danders.
Hello?
Yeah, how was your WrestleMania weekend, man?
It was great. Long, great. I went to the PWA event at Cheers Bar in Sydney.
Yes. I can't do pay-per-views or especially WrestleMania. Like, it was 8 hours, but I can't do pay-per-views at bars.
Oh, I missed the first 3 hours of it, but still, it was a very long day.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the first year I haven't watched it at my house. Normally I host a party, but like we had so much fun at the Royal Rumble one at the Sporting Globe, which I forgot to say on the other podcast. Big shout out to Rebel for hosting that because once again did a stellar job, but it was really long. And once we hit that sort of late show slump after like the two men's titles before the women's titles, I was like, it's fucking nap time. What? There's nowhere for me to go nap.
There were no free
Having a
booths.
time. No.
Like, the only good thing about watching it at home is you don't have to put up with the true believers.
The true believers.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What are
the
they-
true
okay,
believers.
so Danders understands what you're talking about. I have no. What are these true believers?
True believers are the WWE fans that bring the belts. Like, they go out and buy like a Intercontinental Championship belt or the Universal title, and they'll bring it to the show.
Yeah.
Like, those people will give a Panadol a headache. Dead set.
So like Dander's co-host on the WWE show.
No, because
CJ does
CJ's just like, CJ's fun though. Like CJ just really likes watching wrestling, and it doesn't matter to him whether or not he's the biggest fan in the room. I've never been in the room with CJ, but CJ has never made me feel like I'm a bigger WWE fan. Then CJ's just like, I like WWE. That's what I like.
Yeah.
Whereas these people are like, I don't know. I had a guy behind me at the Sporting Globe who, I'm okay if you don't like wrestlers, but don't start having digs at wrestlers' appearance, especially females. I know it's double standard, but this guy behind me was like, you fucking fat bitch, Nia Jackson. I just turned around and I was like, mate, if you register 2 on the beep test, I would be impressed. And then he shut the fuck up.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, it was a time. Look, 99% of the people at the Sporting Globe were awesome, but of course, when you've got a table with only one shit leg and 3 fully functioning legs, which one do you remember?
The shit leg.
Right.
Like the ones where I was, they were just doing stupid chants. Like Samoa Joe was outside, who started a TNA chant. It's like, fucking hell, please just stop.
Why are you chanting at a bar though? Is that a thing?
Exactly.
Is that a thing that happens at these get-togethers? People chant?
We didn't have there wasn't chants, but there was joining in with the like there was people singing along with the entrance music.
Yeah,
but not
that's
like
okay. And cheering and stuff's okay, but
Yeah,
I think there was one "You Deserve It" chant for the Iconics. I think that was like the one.
like
yeah, well, Straya. So
this.
we're gonna get excited about them.
Like there was a female true believer with this table of true believers, and my God, she lost her absolute shit when John Cena interrupted Elias because she said no one's allowed to interrupt Elias, and I just started laughing like,
Man,
are you
I don't know,
okay?
I find that funny. I find that entertaining.
But after about 4 hours, they really do your head in. Dead set.
Yeah, but I mean, they're just having fun, right? Like they're enjoying it. I was having a discussion with Rose today from Rose, the commentator for PWA.
Yeah.
And we were talking about this, like wrestling fans cutting down other wrestling fans. Like we're all nerds. Like, okay, so they're a little bit of a different brand of nerd to you. Like there's, I don't know. I feel like they're having fun. Just kind of ignore it as best you can, I guess. When it comes to like wearing the belts though, is it okay if, for example, if they're cosplaying? So if someone's dressed up fully, like with a bald cap and everything, like Stone Cold Steve Austin, and they've got a smoking skull
Then they
belt,
should have.
is that okay?
They should have to defend their title.
Okay.
If you got the belt, you got to defend it.
Here's the thing, right? Is that maybe 18 months ago I would have been like, people who do that are fucking morons. Get a fucking life. What the fuck are you doing? And yet now I look at these people and I'm like, how is this directly affecting me as a person?
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
not.
Yeah.
So it's none of my fucking business. They're having a time, as long as they're not fucking invading on anyone else's personal space, acting like a douche. Like if this guy goes around starts stunning people,
Yeah.
stunning people,
Yeah.
then okay, we're gonna have some problems.
Yeah.
But I try not to let things that don't directly affect me.
Yeah, or if they
Yeah,
start,
that's fair
like
enough.
you mentioned, the yelling, insults at, Nia Jax based on her weight or anyone else. Like I was at a ACW show and there was one annoying fan that was calling all the wrestlers he didn't like poofters. And
Ooh.
and I at one point I turned to him and I was just like, dude. But I don't know, I'm not imposing at all. And it just kept happening. And yeah, when you're doing those sorts of things, like there could be other people in the crowd that there could be other people at the bar. There could be other people that have issues with their weight, that have issues that are of a different sexuality to you. And you don't know. Like, just keep it to your fucking self. Like, if it's something like that, then speak up for sure. But yeah, just someone dressing up or taking a belt or whatever. Like, I don't know. Yeah, like Dander said, if it's not affecting me, I wouldn't really give a crap.
I share Noam Dar's opinion. He said if you're bringing the belt, you got to defend it. So the Scottish Supernova cannot be wrong.
Fair enough. I am a Noam Dar fan, so I can get behind that. I can get behind that. Is there anything else you wanted to talk about other than the Cheers bar?
Overall, I thought it was a really good event, and like WrestleMania left me satisfied, like, because it was just a genuinely good event.
You didn't think it was too long? See, I thought it was good. I thought all the results were right, even, but it was too long, so it was hard to stay excited for the full length.
I missed the first 4 hours, so
yeah,
so that kind of helps me or so.
It was a better
you know
length for you then. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I reckon they could have cut. Sorry to interrupt. I know it only took like a minute, but they could have cut the US title match. They could have cut Roman versus. Essentially they could have had one multi-man match to get everyone on the card, have a whatever, and that would cut out. And that would have been. It only needed to be an hour shorter.
I'd go two, to be honest. But I woke up early and watched the pre-show and everything. So,
what I thought was that the Batista and H match just dragged on.
See, I
It
really
went on
like
for
that match.
ages. It
I
was a
liked
good
it.
match, but it went on.
It could have gone 5 minutes less or something, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a little bit on the long side.
Yeah. What did you think of Takeover though, Chapper?
Oh, absolutely loved it. I love seeing a big boy fly.
Yeah. So you're a War Raiders fan then?
Yeah, I love seeing a big boy fly. It doesn't matter if it's Hanson. It doesn't matter if it was Kevin Owens when he was a big dude. I love seeing big boys fly.
Caveman Ugg, who was doing some
Yeah.
stuff over WrestleMania weekend too. I wonder if he busted out his Phoenix Splash while he was over there, because that'd turn some heads.
Yeah. From watching NXT, I've come up with you did your shit booking on the review show. I have also done some shit booking over the weekend.
All right, let's hear it.
It's the brother versus bro match. So it'll be Hulk Hogan versus Matt Riddle in a lumberjack match. Wait for it, in a lumberjack match with the Hardy Boys, the Usos, the Good Brothers, and Major Brothers as the lumberjacks.
Stop! My penis is going to
brothers.
get so erect.
Yeah.
I feel like
definitely
what
lives
you've
up-
done. What
Go ahead.
you've got out your Warhammer kit. I don't know if you've ever played Warhammer. I used to be a massive Warhammer nerd. And like you've got out your dice and you've just thrown them, and it's like Hulk Hogan and next dice Matt Riddle for Jack match. That feels like what you've done there.
That would be awesome.
But I'm a Warhammer nerd.
I feel like you've definitely lived up to the shit booking title. I
Yeah.
think you may
Because
have
the
actually surpassed any of mine or CJ's shit booking with that particular.
Maybe not
shit booking.
CJ's. Let's CJ's had some shit booking.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
just picture the promo. Hogan going brother, Riddle going bro. That for like 5 minutes, just
Like in-
brother and broing at each other.
like in basketball when they're
Yeah.
in the dugout and they're just like, dude, and they have a full conversation like that. I can see that happening.
Just
Yeah.
would be
Speaking of
amazing.
Matt Riddle, sorry to interrupt there. Speaking of Matt Riddle, did we see I think it was an Instagram post or a tweet of him
Where
on
he
the
stole
golf
the
cart?
milk?
No, I haven't
About
seen
when
it.
he's on the golf cart and he's like,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
looking for Brock Lesnar.
But he left early, yeah. I do enjoy him stealing the milk from catering, though.
Wait, what?
He
Where do
stole
I
a
miss
gallon
these
of milk.
things?
Look in his Instagram feed, he's going, yeah, I just walked into catering and took a gallon of milk. And they didn't even stop me. This is awesome.
Isn't that the whole point of catering?
Yeah,
Is
it's
it like you
pretty
can
much.
It's there for him to take. That's the point.
So he must have been hitting the devil's grass a bit over the weekend.
He's just enjoying
devil
the
lettuce.
perks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Enjoying the perks.
Isn't he? I thought he was clean now. I'm pretty sure he's clean from the devil lettuce now.
He's got to be.
Oh, mate. Roman can avoid wellness policy things. Same with Big Boy Brock, so I'm pretty sure they're alright with him
Allegedly.
just smoking a bit of weed.
We've got to say that. Allegedly. Yeah.
Allegedly.
Please don't sue us for
Alleged.
defamation. I can't afford lawyers. Actually, something I want to
Well-
clear with you, Chapper, and I'm going to clear it with everyone before we go. So before I get the next caller, I want to clear it with you. Your Patreon dollars. I
Yes.
have said that we would do 10% to charity. A particular cause has popped up at the moment where I'm like, fuck the 10%. I want to give everything that you guys give us this month over to this particular situation. Tyson Baxter down in Melbourne, he's ruptured his ACL. And there's a GoFundMe up for anyone who's listening who is able to contribute, because essentially they've told him, you know, you got to wait 12 months for the surgery in the public system and then another 12 months recovery time. He's not going to be able to wrestle for 2 years if going through the public system. So his tag team partner, Jet Ruka, has put up a GoFundMe. And so I wanted to contribute your funds to that, if you would give me the okay for that.
Yeah, that's fine, man.
Awesome, because if he can raise the $4,500 that he's looking for to go to the private surgery, it's going to cut a year off his out of ring time, and I think he's so promising. Like, I don't want to see him not wrestling, you know? Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no, that's fine, man. That's totally fine, man.
Awesome. Well, I'm going to mute you now, Chapo.
Oh,
now
can
that
I
I've gotten
just-
your approval.
one more thing?
One more thing? Yeah, hit us.
One more thing. With the girls from PWA becoming the first main roster title champions, is it good to say that finally that PWA produces the best wrestlers in Australia?
I think it was safe to say that for a while, personally.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think anyone's really doubted that. I would say they produced the most. I feel
Like
like
the most high quality.
no, just the most female wrestlers.
Okay.
So by definition, they're going to have, like, I feel like Indy Hartwell is as good as anyone at PWA. Probably being a little bit biased. I'm not saying she's better, but she's as good. There just hasn't been a lot of female development. So I think that PWA produce more female talent, and so therefore you're going to get more. Basically, if you're a female wrestler, PWA is where you want to be wrestling. So that's where you're going to be getting against some of the best in our country.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
For sure. All right, thanks a lot for stopping by, Chapo. We're gonna bring in someone else now. We're gonna talk to friend of the show, if I can get the mute button done, Aiden. Aiden, how are you, man?
Finally, good that I've caught up on all the sleep after no sleep over this whole last WrestleMania weekend. Like 4 days of nothing.
Yeah, I saw you online. Then you were always, it was good seeing you online because I could always be like, what's happening now? Because I resolved to only watch the WWE and New Japan shows over the weekend, because otherwise I would have gone absolutely crazy. Like, I have family stuff to do. I have other things to do. So I was like, I'm just going to do the main shows, and then I'll catch up on highlights. And so you've been my go-to to figure out what I should be catching up on.
As I should be, because I think the final tally was like 16 shows over the 4 days.
How many hours is that?
I have no idea. I was having two screens going at once at some time. It was ridiculous.
That's amazing. I've done that before.
Just an update, sorry, just before we do proceed, just on the thing with the GoFundMe. Did we actually provide the link? It's GoFundMe, au.gofundme.com/don't doubt Tyson Baxter. They're nearly up to $2,000. They're at $1,823.
That's good.
Good on them.
Fantastic.
Yeah, because that went up earlier today, so we're talking like 12 hours or so it's been up, and to be almost at the halfway point, that's pretty good. And we'll put the link in the show notes for everyone as well. You can also find, we've got the link up on the B Plus Facebook and Twitter and all that sort of stuff, because I mean, Tyson was one of our, he was one of our wrestlers you may not have heard of, but should definitely pay attention to in 2019, because they wrestle good and probably do other stuff good too. He was one of our choices for those, so we want to get behind him, of course. But thanks for that, Dandis.
Yeah, proceed.
Yeah, so 16 shows. 16 shows is a lot of fucking shows, man.
Yeah, you're telling me about it. Like, my schedule was sleep like 2 hours, then watch all the wrestling, and maybe I get sleep for the day, or like half an hour nap before starting again.
What was the best show of the weekend in your opinion?
Honestly, wrestling-wise, I think the first part of Joey Janela's Spring Break, and then like my personal favorite was Bloodsport.
Right, yeah, Bloodsport's right up my alley. I've got Bloodsport ready to go. It's in my queue. But I have been making my way through Joey Janela's Spring Break today and yesterday, sort of in the ads to Raw and SmackDown, because Raw and SmackDown after Mania I always watch live. But in the ads and stuff, I was watching. Joey. I've finished Invisible Man vs Invisible Stan. Oh,
amazing!
My Lord. Yeah, Bryce Remsburg is like, he was already my favorite referee in history. But like, after watching that, I challenge anyone to watch Invisible Man vs Invisible Stan from Joey Janela's Spring Break 3 Part 1 and not fall in love with Bryce Remsburg.
He done a fantastic job of that. Also, honorable mention for Hideki Suzuki, if you've seen him throughout that show, getting face washed by Shinjiro Otani and taking a bump from Invisible Man himself.
Yes, indeed. Danders, just so you know, have you seen Invisible Man vs Invisible Stan?
Don't know any of these people that he's talking about.
So Invisible Man is an invisible man that Joey Janela has wrestled, right?
Okay.
And he died, and some stuff came out about his family. Anyway, he wasn't really dead, and he has an invisible brother, and they were feuding, and they ended up in this match, right?
So this is essentially an empty ring.
It's a referee pretending
with
that he's
bad boy
refereeing
vision.
a match. Yeah, with bad boy vision.
Okay.
He's got the Joey Janela glasses on, pretending that he's refereeing a match. And there was a ref bump, and no one knew what the fuck was going on. There was interference from Kikutaru.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine if they tried to pull this shit in WWE? Like,
I feel like
this
WWE
is
would
like-
have a lot more fans.
this just is like shit only indie promotions can get away. I'm sure it's amazing. I will give it a watch, but I'm like,
They had the Invisible Man doing a bump off like the balcony.
Off the balcony.
And all the refs and everyone in the crowd solved the bump like they actually got bumped. And there was a table breaking with no one touching it, which I don't know how they done.
I have no idea how they did that. How did they break the table? What the hell? It was the greatest match I've ever seen.
That was personally one of my favorite shows. Bloodsport, because I'm a fan of the legitimate worked shoot, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, like the shoot style. Yeah.
Yeah, that was fantastic to watch because he had Masashi Takeda, who's a deathmatch guy, come in and face John Gresham, who's just like a pure wrestler, and they had like probably my favorite match of the weekend.
That's interesting, Takeda versus Gresham. I didn't even know that was booked.
Yeah, like it was probably
Shamrock's on that show, isn't he?
Yeah, Frank Mir and Dan Severin.
Oh, right, yeah, Dan Severin, Frank Mir, yeah, that's
and
insane.
Josh Barnett, Minoru Suzuki.
Oh, that's right, because it was Josh Barnett this year, because last year it was Matt Riddle's Bloodsport.
Yeah,
But
this is Josh Barnett's Bloodsport.
Yeah. GCW do amazing things.
They had the Orange Cassidy show from GCW as well, which was something to experience.
Okay, so this one I've been going back and forth on as to whether I should watch it or not, because Orange Cassidy...
Please do it.
Yeah, watch it. Orange Cassidy, of course, is Fire Ant.
Yeah.
From Chikara. So there's a connection there, and obviously he's been doing the Orange Cassidy thing for a while, but I just wasn't sure, because, you know, it just feels like another Joey Janela knockoff show. But...
man, like, this seems like it actually came from Cassidy himself, if he was to book it. Like, you had Chuck Taylor versus Trent in a 1 minute match. It's like 1 minute time limit. How do you think that went?
Wait, so they had to win in 1 minute?
Yeah.
Man, you should have made it a 1 minute Iron Man match. That would have been amazing.
There was a 7 out of 13 falls match, which is kind of the same. But
7 out of 13? Fuck me.
And then you Teddy Hart Teddy Hart didn't do a wrestling match. He brought out his cats and read from a book about a cat. It was called Teddy Hart's Reading Rainbow. It was just him reading about cats for about 10 minutes.
Okay, can someone do like a Mick Moretti's Mischief and Mayhem show or something and just do stupid shit like this too? Can we get some of this shit here, please? Please. This is amazing.
I'd pay to go see that kind of stuff. It was really, really fun. But my MVP of the weekend, like, I watched a bunch of shows and there was just this one name that kept popping up. Like, the first show I watched was, do you know Beyond Wrestling?
Yeah.
Yeah,
no,
they
Beyond
just...
Play. Sorry, I'm just trying to contribute. I don't know.
Yeah, this is the part where Danders is like, I know nothing and no one.
Yeah, I'm just going to go get a beverage, fellas, so carry on.
Sorry, Danders.
Beyond Wrestling just launched their weekly episodic show.
Yeah.
Like, you may have seen that floating around.
Yeah.
And
is that on Fight or YouTube?
It's on something called Independent Wrestling TV.
Oh, right. Yeah, no, I've seen a lot of stuff about that Independent Wrestling TV because they had a free trial over this weekend and they had like a lot,
that's
like
where
the
I watch most of my shows.
Yeah, the Chikara show was on there, which I already got that because of Once Upon a Beginning was also on Chikaratopia. But they've got a lot of stuff on there. Yeah,
it was a very fun show. But I was watching Intergender match comes up and this girl, Chris Statlander, she had a match against AR Fox, and I was blown away. I'm like, this Chris Statlander girl's something to keep an eye on. Next show I watch, she was on there. Amazing. And that was against, like, Jess Troy and Shazza McKenzie.
Okay.
A show.
Wait, so what was her name, sorry?
Chris Statlander.
Chris Statlander. So I've never heard of her.
Funny enough, you know the two girls that Iconics faced on SmackDown?
Yes.
The one with the tattoos?
Babe,
That was
we're
her.
back. We're back with something I know what we're talking about.
the Brooklyn Bells that they faced on
one of the Brooklyn Bells, the one with the tattoos, that was her.
Okay.
Like, after seeing her all weekend, she appeared on SmackDown Live. I'm just like, wow. I was blown away because she was one that.
So she was
very
your
promising.
MVP for the weekend, and then she was rewarded for being so good over the weekend by showing up on SmackDown. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, like she was fantastic. Like, if you're into intergender wrestling, go out of your way to watch that AR Fox and Chris Statlander match on Independent Wrestling TV.
And which show was that a part of?
Beyond Uncharted Territory, episode 1.
Okay, cool. Yeah,
I
absolutely.
had Mick Moretti on the show as well.
Right. Because, yeah, a lot of our guys were over there too. Mick Moretti was over, Jack Bonza, Caveman Ugg. They all showed up or Jack Bonza didn't, I don't think, but they showed up in the clusterfuck as part of Spring Break.
Jack Bonza was on that family reunion show.
Yeah.
Which was very good.
And Robbie Eagles had a few bookings as well. Shazza McKenzie actually did a major angle in the clusterfuck.
Yeah, I did see that. Like, it was a weird way of going about it, but
she beat the shit out of someone with light tubes, dude.
They all did. Everyone beat the shit
out of badass.
Jimmy Lloyd, after having a deathmatch with Takeda the night before, which was awesome. Go check that out. He ate light tubes from all the women's roster.
Yeah. Well, there was no women's roster. That was the point, right? Joey Janela's a sexist. Yeah. So Shazza, who else was there? Solo Darling was part of it.
Alley Cat.
Alley Cat, yes, who I love. Alley Cat is fantastic. Session Moth Martina was involved as well, I think.
Yeah, Martina. There's
a bunch of them.
Saraya Knight, I think, was one of them.
I didn't notice her. Yeah. Unfortunately, none of our other girls were there. Like the Charlie Evans and Jessica Troy. They ended up on Being the Elite though. This week, I don't know if you saw that from the Rise Wrestling show.
I was disappointed when I actually saw it because it was so fucking cool that they were on it. But like the way people were going on about it, I was like, oh my god, like what do they say? Are they sassy? It was like, oh, it's a match, and all you literally see is the back of them. But it's like, don't get me wrong, it's fucking cool that they were on it, and they had like they were on it for a good few minutes. But I thought that they were going to be. I thought from the way that people were describing it, it was going to be more interactive. But
yeah. No, but it's still pretty freaking cool. Like, because the thing is too, when something like when a show shows up on Being the Elite, it's more likely that people will search that show out to watch to see the full context of what was happening. So they get more eyes, which is pretty awesome.
Yeah, like seeing all the Aussies on these shows as well. Like how I mentioned Chris Statlander, she was in the tag match with Solo Darling, and they were facing Jess Troy and Shazza McKenzie. Yeah, and that was a really fun match.
Yeah. Which is pretty cool.
So that match seems right up your alley because you love Sally Darling, Shazza, and Jess.
Yeah, and Jess. Yeah, so I'm definitely going to be seeking this out now because those are three of my favorites. Yeah, Solo Darling is amazing, and her intergender stuff's really good too.
Robbie Eagles didn't appear on a lot of the shows that he was announced for, which was really weird because he was meant to be in the 6-man tag. If you heard about that one, like
the family reunion.
Yeah, but it ended up being Belle Pierce, Jack Bonza, Mick Moretti, and Caveman Ugg, Steph DeLander, and Unsocial Jordan, which was still fun.
I wonder if it has something to do with the Bullet Club block party.
I have no idea, but...
That's unusual. That seems weird. I hope he's okay. I hope he's not freaking injured or anything.
No, sorry about House of Glory.
He's at MCW in a couple of weeks, so I'm sure he's fine.
I'm just wondering why he didn't show up to that one, because nothing was really said. I'm just like, is he all good?
Yeah, that's unusual, and that takes me off guard. I didn't realize that he didn't because I know he was booked for a few because I saw his name announced. But yeah, that's odd. Yeah.
Oh well. There's a lot of good shows out there from the independent side of it. If you need to go check them out, you should.
Right. So list off a couple that people should watch because I'll tell you what's in my queue at the moment. I'm partway through Spring Break. I've got Joey Ryan's Penis Party is in my list.
The DDT element in that is you've probably seen GIFs about people complaining about it and tagging Jim Cornette already.
No, I haven't, but if it's going to upset Jim Cornette, I'm going to love it. You know this.
All I say is Denshoku Dino. And
okay,
what I mean.
Yeah, of course, yeah. So then I've got the Stardom America show. I'm looking at that one as well.
That wasn't too bad, aside from the ring being broken for all the show.
Right. And I've been told that the Blackcraft show was an absolute mess, like so bad that it's good.
Yeah, it really was.
So I've got that on my list because I love things that are so ridiculously bad. Plus, I'm told there's deaths, and I love deaths in wrestling. So everyone else was cringing at Impact when they killed off Ali, and I was just like, yes, this is my shit. More deaths in wrestling. I think it's amazing.
My shows I recommend people watch. Go out, watch Bloodsport. Like, it blurs the lines between realism and kayfabe, like with wrestling. The Spring Break, obviously, and I think the DDT Coming to America show is a must-watch for people trying to get into that kind of wrestling, the Japanese style.
Does it have English commentary?
It's English commentary, yes, which is very helpful.
Yes. Okay, yeah, because that's the thing with DDT. That's the biggest barrier I have, is that they don't have any English content. And because they put out so much stuff, and because they are so wacky and unique, I get some of the jokes. I get some of what's happening, but a lot of it goes way over my head because culturally it's so different.
This show, there was like no real comedy. It was more so the serious side of DDT, and then they had a weapon rumble.
Okay.
And they had like toilet seats and Lego and all that kind of stuff.
Just to fill Danders in, if she's still here. Danders, you here?
I'm still here. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm just giving you some sweet ASMR. Hang on.
Lovely.
Yeah. So DDT,
Pretzels.
Dramatic Dream Team, I think it stands for. They're a Japanese promotion. These are the guys that, I don't know if you've heard about, like they have the title that once held itself and was held by a ladder.
Is this the heavy metal title?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they also have, so there was one show that I watched with Aiden, and I was like, what the fuck is going on? It was a Royal Rumble, essentially, but on a train. And so when the train stopped, like new people get on. It was weird. It was very weird.
It was amazing though. Through the DDT New York show, though, there's like a running joke with the DDT heavy metal title, which you'd probably enjoy.
Right. Yeah, I do love me a good callback joke. So, yeah. I'll definitely check it out. All right, thanks for that, man. Thanks for breaking it down.
No worries.
It's good to hear all the non-WWE stuff that happened as well. Did you watch the WWE stuff?
I did indeed. I watched everything, including up to 205 today, and God, the Raw and SmackDown were very disappointing.
They were, right? They were dull.
Mediocre.
Yeah. Which is not what you want for the first, Kofi era, Seth era, and it's just like, yeah, this is really boring.
Yeah.
Like,
I think the thing that popped me the most was on 205 that Oni Lorcan is like pretty much part of the roster now, which is cool.
Yeah. Oni Lorcan's gotten the call up. Yeah, it's interesting. Which I guess we'll have CJ talking about that pretty soon. So I'm gonna mute you here now, Aiden, and we're gonna bring in Jules, because I know Jules is also keen to talk about some non-WWE action from the weekend. I feel really bad for Danders right now, but I'm sure Jules has some things that Danders can jump in.
Just before we go into this, because I'm just doing some research, I think I'm going to be in Sydney in a couple of weeks, and there is a Wrestling Go show. Yes. Which I might be able to attend. Why do people act... I'm just brought up a map. Why do people act like Blacktown is in Sydney? Just maps it, and I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah. Blacktown is in Sydney. It's in the Greater West. That's where I grew up. Like right near.
Doesn't look that fucking great.
I grew up between Blacktown and Penrith. Oh, it's a hole. It's an absolute hole.
That was just a joke on when you said Greater Western Sydney. I was like, it doesn't look that great.
No, I understand.
I know what you mean.
Yeah, I understand.
Is this where GWS play?
GWS?
There. Greater Western Sydney, the football team.
I assume. I mean, the Greater West is pretty big, but yeah, Blacktown.
Yeah, so that's put it. Although looking just mapsing, because I'll be coming from the Macquarie Ice Rink, it looks like it's only about 25 minutes.
Yeah.
Driving in no traffic.
It's not that bad. It's not that hard to get to Blacktown. Is it for the Go Olympic Games?
Yes.
Yes, that's their biggest show. You should definitely go to it. It'll be fun.
Look, and it's only $10.
Yeah.
Like what?
Yeah.
That's insane.
Wrestling Go's fantastic. It's because it's not in like when you go to like MCW and you're in the Thornbury Theatre, it's a really good venue. When you go to, Max Watts, it's a really good venue, and you pay for that. This is in like a community hall. They could definitely up their production in that way, but in terms of wrestling,
I don't really care too much about that.
Yeah, in terms of wrestling, they have some of the best.
About all this shit I don't know about.
Jules, how are you, man?
Yeah, I'm good. Like, I'm totally wrestled out. I think after watching like Takeover, WrestleMania, Raw, G1 Supercard, Kaiju Big Battle, and Joey Ryan's Penis Party.
Yes.
Yeah, that's about 25 hours. Plus going to EPW Gold Rush on Saturday night.
Nice.
Yeah,
I've heard the closing angle was insane.
Oh yeah, it was crazy. But now my relationship is hanging on a thread, so I really need to take it easy. So once I've got, I think, Bloodsport, Rev Pro's show from New York, there's a Kaiju versus DDT show, and then I'm done with wrestling for a couple of weeks. I think, just for the sake of my personal life. And that's until I'm taking her off to London for Super Strong Style 16 and Kaiju Big Battle, and then once we land back in Perth, next day I'm off to Melbourne for the Brewery Brawl and Glow in Real Life. So to be continued. Hopefully
we're need a bit of a break.
Yeah. So it was a fun weekend though. I'm just absolutely shattered. I thought I'd break down the Joey show, the Joey Ryan, the penis Joey.
The penis Joey. Yeah, it's Dan's favorite Joey.
He's the penis one. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
guys, he has a really large penis. That's the whole thing.
Wait, Danders, did you know you can touch it for $30?
And I saw that there was a lot of scandal around the concept of children touching his dick, and he was like, "Why would people even think that?" I'm like, "Why are you even offering for people to pay you to touch your dick?"
It's the gimmick. I thought it was great. I thought it was a hilarious idea. But yeah, anyway.
Sorry, please break down.
Well, look, I think what really surprised me about the penis show was that there was lucha, there was the death match, you had celebrities, legends, there was some pretty gross stuff,
Well, Priscilla Kelly was
dolls, tampons, yeah. But there was actual good wrestling as well. So I think it was overall a real surprise for me at the weekend because I think the first thing was the genius move of getting Excalibur and Don Callis on commentary because they are great together.
Wow, yeah, they would be. Don Callis has a really dry wit.
They nearly went full on kind of levels of some kind of meta comedy play by play. So they really let loose. So that was really good fun. So it started with an interspecies match. Because you had all of the animal gimmick wrestlers, or some of the animal gimmick wrestlers. So you had Black Taurus, Puma King, Ultimo Dragon, which is just great to see. Mr. Iguana, not a fan. And then Shark Boy.
Right.
So
of course
that was pretty sweet. So it was like it could be like a Sharknado bad spin-off film, like Mega Shark versus Dragon versus Iguana versus Ant kind of bullshit. But it was fun. It was silly. But Ultimo Dragon took the win, so that was nice.
You would expect a dragon to win in that situation.
Well, you'd think the shark, but Shark Boy is he's getting on a bit now.
Yeah.
So that was fun.
I think that we need to do more in the West where we hand down gimmicks, right? Like, why not? Why can't Shark Boy just open a school and give the hood to one of his students, so we can have a Shark Boy forever?
I think, I'm not sure because he's already kind of got the Steve Austin kind of thing going on, and he's still doing a bit of that. So
yeah,
women, which is nice.
Yeah.
So then they moved into like DJZ and Shigehiro Irie, which was again a surprise because it was like a proper wrestling match, and with Irie being pretty much Brit Rest now because he's all over Rev Pro, WXW, and Progress and stuff.
Yeah.
So they beat a couple of guys from Mexico that I don't know anything about, but it was a good wrestling match, and there was only one DJZ air horn in it, so I was pretty stoked about that.
That's the best thing about DJZ.
Is it though? Is it just slightly irritating?
It's just like the best thing about R-Truth is the dance breaks,
Oh, the best thing about R-Truth is about 120 and ripped.
Yeah.
And then one of the, I guess, lowlights was Tracy Smothers.
Yes.
Against Sue Young. So
That just reminds me, I don't know who this person is, obviously, but it just reminds me of, like, Billy Corgan smashing pumpkins. Homer Simpson smiling politely. Because Jordan Smothers. And Rand. Proceed.
But
Tracy
yeah,
Smothers was on the Joey Janela show as well, the clusterfuck.
Oh,
and,
was he?
Yeah, he can barely move.
Did he have the Confederate flag singlet on?
Yeah, no, he was draped in a Confederate flag. It was, even the commentary were like, it's a bit much.
I'm like, I'm just watching that and thinking, well, may know from such things as murdering Ali on Impact, or from being Rich Ron's wife and that kidnapping in the car.
Yeah.
But many will know, like, Tracy Smothers from being an absolute relic and a total prick. So he was bad news, man. He called her a bitch a lot. I think he spat on her at one point, and then he was doing this weird gimmick of like interrupting the match every couple of minutes to get on the mic and talk shit. It was ugly as fuck, but I was just losing the shit over what a total prick this guy was. So yeah, not a fan of booking Tracy Smothers, but it was incredibly silly, and Sue Young got a few good kind of moves in and beat him up a bit, so that was nice.
Yeah. Yeah. No. Yeah. Why is Tracy Smothers getting booked? I don't understand it. Like he wasn't even that good way back when.
No, and it's no like, but he's like generationally racist and sexist, and it's like, oh, he doesn't know any. I don't think that washes in 2019, but that seemed to be the thing. It was like, let's laugh at the old man with out-of-date opinions and what a prick. So yeah, that was a bit weird. I wasn't a fan.
Yeah.
And he beat Sue Young, right? So that's not the outcome that you'd really look for.
He won? Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty gross.
Yeah, he properly, like, yeah, it wasn't cool. But then we have like a women's tag match with Ali and Rosemary. Was it the I don't really.
Demon Bunny.
Yeah, that's it. Against Thunder Rosa and Holidead. It was a very silly match, but the story was that Ali couldn't tell the difference between the other three girls in the match.
I love that. That's so good. Yeah, because they all wear very similar face paint.
Yeah, I love that. Like, paint is a thing, and I really love the way that the visual of having the four girls with relatively similar face paint, and the Thunder Rosa and Holidead, you really couldn't tell them apart because they had matching outfits and matching face paint. But Rosemary looks very different to Thunder Rosa and Holidead, so it was silly, it was fun, but it had some good spots, so it was cool.
Yeah. So is most of the show comedy? I mean, but with good wrestling as well, though.
Yeah, so at this point, I'm just like, what the fuck is going to be next? Because I just didn't see any spoilers of who was going to be on.
Yeah.
And then next is Timothy Thatcher, and I'm like, yes, Timothy Thatcher, ring camp. This is going to be kick-ass against David Arquette.
David Arquette is actually getting a lot better.
It was so good because David Arquette, a young boy match, so he was just getting beaten up.
Right.
And just getting schooled in wrestling from a proper badass in Timothy Thatcher.
That's awesome.
Who ended up beating him with a Boston Crab, which is pretty insulting, I think.
Yeah.
So who taps out to a Boston Crab? I don't know.
Young boys do.
Yeah, exactly.
Did he have RJ City with him just screaming from the sideline, do the moves?
No.
Because that would be worth the price of admission.
He was wearing like Scream-inspired tights. So it was...
Classy.
Yeah, and people were chanting Dewey, Dewey. And I'm like, oh man, what about chanting light tube to the neck? Like,
yeah.
So, but it wasn't gross. It was a really quick match actually, and I think it felt like it was part of his education. So that was pretty nice.
Yeah. I have all the respect in the world for David Arquette. I feel like this is something Dennis can weigh in on because Dan is like a retro WCW girl. How do you feel about David Arquette wrestling?
I'm more retro WWE, but I mean, like, if you're an Attitude Era fan or a child of the Attitude Era, you know of David Arquette. I think it's good that he obviously has the ability to laugh at himself, which is good. All these years on, and I mean, like, what the fuck is he doing these days? Like, not a whole.
He's wrestling. That's what he's doing. Yeah.
I mean, it's a sign. David Arquette to me will be forever the personification of WWE, WCW. Sorry, like that. The finger poke of doom, and actually, those are probably the two big moments of WCW. So yeah, it's like. Never going to be a drawing card for me. But yeah, it's good to see him having a run.
I love it. I've been on the World Series Wrestling Please Book David Arquette train for a long time.
Imagine if they book him and then they don't come to Adelaide.
Oh, I would be so pissed. If they brought down David Arquette and RJ City, that would be cause for me to fly to one of the other cities in the country. For sure.
Solid.
For sure. I mean, if I could afford it at that particular month, for sure. RJ City is like my favorite guy on the indies at the moment.
Well, you know.
I'm cutting out. My internet's terrible tonight.
Started talking about people I don't know about, so I just put in general phrases there.
Fair enough.
Well, look, David Arquette's just lived the best life, I reckon. He's getting front row tickets to WWE shows, getting on the camera, and he's getting to wrestle. It's like a boyhood dream.
Yeah, well, because he's made all the money he needs, right? So, like, why not enjoy yourself? For sure.
Yeah.
I think it's... How old is he, anyway? He'd be in, like, his 50s, for sure.
Yeah, early 50s, but then maybe late 40s. I don't know. But he's probably the same age as me, which makes me mad, but yeah.
That's pretty crazy.
But then you look at Minoru Suzuki and you're like, yeah. Do what you want.
Yeah.
So that was pretty fun. And then they had two guys I honestly didn't know. So Bill Carr and Detective Dan Barry. No awareness.
Yeah, never heard of them.
No, but
Probably
they had
bar
a pretty
wrestling
nasty,
guys, I'm going to assume.
Mabes. They had a pretty nasty death match. Where I think the highlight for me is that they had, like wooden barbecue skewers.
Yeah.
They were doing this spot where they bunched them up like you would spaghetti.
Okay.
But then holding it on top of the other guy's head and then just like hammering it down with their hand.
Oh.
And then the spot is that you take your hands away and the skewers kind of stick in their head. So that was fully gross, and they're wandering around with these skewers sticking out of their head, which was a bit odd. But yeah, that's deathmatch.
Yeah, deathmatches aren't really my thing.
No, they had a door full of mousetraps, and I'm like, yeah.
I do love a good door spot, though.
It was full of nopes, but that's all that was all about. And then they had that DDT Iron Man heavyweight battle royal.
Okay.
I can't break it down because it was just so much going on. I was like trying to make some notes about what this was, and I was like, okay, so there was fingers in bums, there was bums on bums, there was lots of kissing.
Yep. Sounds like Danchico Dino. It was
Dino.
Yeah.
All the way. So it was basically a Dino showcase. There was like a story time with the finger puppet. He did his like ass clench throw thing, like Joey Ryan style.
Yeah.
Put your finger in my ass and I will throw you.
Yeah.
And then at the end...
Sorry, I tuned out for a minute and I don't know what the fuck you guys are talking about.
Wrestling!
Doesn't sound like something I'm into.
Wrestling where people put their fingers in their bums and then throw each other and then they slap their bums against each other.
Ryan? It sounds like Joey Ryan.
Well, yeah, this is still on his show. Yeah.
Yeah.
But the thing is, if you don't like Joey Ryan, you're not going to like any of the stuff we're talking about from this weekend.
This is pretty much the exact moment where my relationship hit breaking point. Watching this. At the point where then Yoshihiko, who's the previous champ, who is a blow-up doll,
yes,
comes out, and then the final two of the Rumble, Yoshihiko wins with a single leg Boston Crab, which is really well done.
Yeah. So
basically, there's a guy in a black full body leotard who like brings her on,
who manipulates her, yeah.
And manipulates her, but then during the match and the final two, it's just the guy doing the moves with the doll,
yeah,
and doing a really convincing Boston Crab with it, which popped me. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I always find it super impressive. Anyone who's wrestling her. Obviously the matches with Kenny Omega and Kota Ibushi are classic, right? Like they're timeless. You can go back and watch them, and they're fantastic. But it's well worth looking up. So it's Yoshihiko looking up her highlights on YouTube because she's a multi-time heavy metal weight champion.
Yeah, right. She's a legend. Yeah.
She's had as many runs as Vacant, I think, at this point.
And Jack the Jobber from Cultaholic, which is kind of weird.
God.
Yeah. So enough of that, but that kind of gave me an appetite to watch a bit more DDT because it's just so fucking silly. And as you know, I've mentioned every time what a Wrestle Rock fan I am, and it's just that stupidness that I really love, and I think the place for it in wrestling.
Well, the Wrestle Rock show that I went to, and the thing that made me fall in love with it, and these are the things I love. The catwalk match, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's the shit I love about wrestling. When wrestling just very clearly is not wrestling, that's my shit.
No, it's a caveman wearing a, which is
trying to put the suit jacket on as pants. I love it so much.
So great.
Slipping on a banana peel.
There's like 3 or 4 more. Colt Cabana and some radio show guy from the US and Tommy Dreamer. And they were against Best Friends, so Chucky T and Trent and Matt Striker. Like, he still wrestles? Just so weird. Well, he still turns up in a wrestling ring. I'm not sure about wrestles, but yeah, that was pretty odd. Cool. But Jerry Lynn was the ref as well.
I love Jerry Lynn.
He's the new ref and show.
I thought he was the whole ref and show.
Probably. I don't know. I think I was quite drunk at this point.
Well, that would make sense because RVD was the whole effing show, and then he was the new effing show after he beat RVD. So it would make sense if he was the new effing show. But I'm sure at All In they called him the whole effing show.
Semantics, potato.
When are you in town next, Jules? By in town, I mean my town.
In your town, I am in Melbourne. The Brewery Brawl, so 11th of May.
There's so many shows coming up over the next 6 to 8 weeks. My goodness, I don't know how I'm going to survive.
I'm super mad about missing Lex. That's gonna make me cry.
What are you missing? Sorry, the next Wrestle Rock?
Yeah, no, the next SCW, Lex and Robbie Eagles for Slex's double champ belts.
WWE are copying MCW there with the double championship.
Yeah, why not? Well, it could be a bait and switch, and they could just end up like not doing it if they really want to copy WWE Raw after WrestleMania bullshit. But,
True.
But no, so is Slex defending both belts at once? Yeah. So it's become a unified belt, but just with 2 belts.
No, it's not a unified belt because they will split them up because they're not going to get rid of the. To me, the Intercommonwealth belt is the most prestigious belt in the company. Or I would actually go as far as to say in the country.
Oh, big call.
In terms of wrestling, I absolutely agree. When you look back at some of the matches for that belt, that's your pure wrestling classics.
Yeah. I mean, obviously it's not. It's the best defended belt, I will say.
Right.
Fences.
I think that though, if you do defend them individually, and you have someone beat him for the Intercommonwealth, that makes them automatically the number 1 contender for the world. And so they have to immediately have another match. Like, it just feels weird to me.
Yeah, we'll see how it plays out.
I don't know what they're going to do.
They'll. All I know is that they will book it well, and they will split those in a good way, because I don't think I've ever, in the last couple of years, been let down by the booking at MCW. It's amazing.
Certainly not for the Intercommonwealth.
Yeah.
I think like the last time I was like was when Brooksy won the belt the first time. He won it off JXT, who had been chloroformed by Jonathan Preston. And so Brooksy just walked in, put his foot on him, and went 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's questionable.
Yeah. We can talk about that more off
yeah,
air.
totally.
Well, I think
there's some stories there.
I think that with the tag team titles, I wanted to see Brat Pack just retain straight through the law. Like I didn't want to see, but you know that comes down to personal preference. Though I'm not saying that what we got was bad at all, because it wasn't. But I personally would have liked to see them break the record. Yeah.
Yeah. Were you at that show, Jules? I think I missed you when you were at that show.
Yeah, I was in the corner at the front, getting horribly drunk. So
I see
was
Jules
getting
at all
really
these shows.
myself.
I'm not there, but I see him on Vimeo.
don't look at the EPW show, because they've got a setup where this time the seats on the stage facing the ring, so I'm like 2 feet away from the ring ropes, and so I at the hard cam as well. So it's just going to be I can't. It's going to be crushingly awkward to watch that show.
I'm just going to be watching your reactions the entire night now.
Yeah, no, please don't.
What did you think of the? Sorry to just like bring it way back. What did you think of the tag team match in that show?
Which was the tag team match at MCW?
So it was the Law versus the Brat Pack in the TLC match.
Oh, I think I was too busy like owie-dowieing, because his spot where I genuinely didn't legit properly hurt, because like Chris Fresh came out and everyone came out. I was kind of really distracted with that, so I missed a lot of the match. I thought it was pretty
right
brutal
in front of you as well.
Yeah, it was pretty brutal and pretty fun. But yeah, it was okay. I to be honest, like, unpopular opinion, TLC matches don't do a lot for me. They're pretty formulaic for me, but
I think that they need to be like the best one that I've seen, and TLC matches, spoiler alert, are just ladder matches.
Yeah.
That's all they are.
They are.
So the
because
best
in a
one that
ladder
I've
match,
seen,
there's no DQ. So the other stuff gets
Awesome, you
busted
can
out
have it.
anyway. Yeah.
Exactly. So for me, I think the best one they've ever done is the Brat Pack versus, maybe it wasn't the Brat Pack. Actually, I think it was Payne and Preston versus Crackerjack and Lockie Hendricks.
oh yeah,
Back in, I want to say maybe 2016 or 2017. That was supreme, because Crackerjack obviously thrives in that style of match. That's the only one I've seen live that I'm just like, this was a fucking awesome match.
yeah. I've never seen a super great one, but I kind of like being taken out of the match and into, oh shit, are you dead kind of thing. So I enjoy that part. So yeah, that was pretty cool.
Yeah, see, I agree with TLC matches being relatively overrated. This is why, like, I'm not a fan of death matches too much either. Like, I appreciate them as their own art form, but it's not necessarily the art form of wrestling that I prefer. And that's why when people, like, I get a lot of crap from people for liking so much comedy wrestling, like the wacky, weird shit, like invisible people fighting. But like, I'm like, when people can go out there and be entertaining and not risk so much of their neck, like, I just have even more respect for that personally. And I think, like, I mean, come on, Big Fudge in PWA, right? He gets the biggest reactions from the crowd by punching someone in the butt. Like, how can you not love that?
But I think it also comes down to that TLC matches and flippy shit go hand in hand, and you're not too fond of the flippy shit, Gregory.
I'm not fond of flippy shit. Like, I like lucha.
I didn't say you're not fond of it.
I
I said you're not too fond. That's not your preferred style.
No, it's not my
flippy
favorite.
shit is the love of my life. If I could marry flippy shit, I would.
So
yeah.
So Ricochet's your dream man.
Yeah. Also because I'm quite fond of the gentlemen that have a little bit of extra pigment in the skin as well. That's the most politically correct way I could say that. What were we talking about? I do like Ricochet.
Yeah.
And look, ladder matches, TLC matches will always take me out of the fun and suspension of disbelief, because nobody fucking climbs a ladder that slowly ever and then immediately runs around like, they're perfectly fine again. Like, stop climbing ladders so slow.
When they do that, what it reminds me of is when I was younger and my mum would ask me to do a chore. Like, my mum could be like, climb that ladder. And that's how I would climb it, just to show her how disgruntled I was at being told what to do. That's the only explanation I have.
You sound like my daughter.
So you need to be booked in a match with Session Mob where you're one of her children. He's like, climb that ladder, and you're like, oh, Mom, and climb the ladder. I'd book it.
Book it.
Book it.
Book it,
I'm
MCW.
available session month. Isn't she coming to Australia?
Yeah, she's
Yeah,
in the
that's
Brewery
kind
Bowl.
of that's why I'm flying out for Brewery Brawl, and she's been announced for 15, so I'm super stoked.
I mean, book it. Mikey J, I know you're not listening, but book it.
Maintain the
yeah.
illusion. I like to pretend everyone listens. So, Mikey J, we know you're listening. Book it. Book it for the Brewery
Oh,
Brawl.
boy. I did say it's the best book promotion that I watched.
Cool.
So
Do we have anyone else that we need to get to?
No, that's it. That's it. Jules is done. So,
Oh, that's all. Oh, we can
we haven't-
talk to Jules for as long as we need.
I didn't even get to
we
the
haven't
point
finished
about the guy who shitted. And then
Danders was getting sick of hearing all the wacky shit, and she wanted to talk about
No, it
Flippy
wasn't. It
Boys
wasn't
for a
that.
minute.
It's Jules. Like Jules and Chapo are my faves, so that's why I mean, I love all our Patreons. I love you all. Is there more than Jules and Chapo?
Yeah, there are. There's never,
Okay.
It's never available.
Anyway, so yeah, no, I'm happy to talk for as long as however, but I was just like, if there's other people waiting, they might
No.
get up.
Yeah, Jules is our final caller, and then we're heading off to do the view from the WWE universe. So we want to get to the end of the penis party though, because I want to hear about this, because I'm hinging whether I watch it. It's in my queue. I'm hinging whether I watch it on
well,
what Jules has to say.
I think I have. There's like 2 more matches. Johnny Penis, which is obviously Johnny Nitro,
Johnny Impact, yeah. Johnny insert
Impact
name here, yeah.
Yeah, and beat the Lucha Bros. So
Wait, who was
that's
his
a thing.
partner? So Johnny Penis and Joey
Taya
Ryan.
Valkyrie.
Oh, Taya Valkyrie. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they beat the Lucha Bros. So that was a weird booking decision.
Interesting. Yeah, just the best tag team on the planet.
Yeah, two of the best that there is, and Johnny fucking Penis.
Yeah.
But the last match was kind of brought it all back for me, where you had Session Moth, Scarlett Bordeaux, and Priscilla Kelly against Joey Ryan, Sexy Eddie, Val fucking Venus.
Nice. Val Venus is still wrestling.
Still turning up and doing stuff. I wouldn't call it wrestling.
Is he still like a porn star? Is that still his thing?
I think he's moved away from being like, believable-ish porn star to being really fucking creepy old guy with a towel.
Right.
So that was...
Is that I can get on board with? That creepy Val Venus. Sign me up.
At one point, he showed what was in his trunks, and she dragged him to the back because she was so impressed with his stuff.
with his manhood. So it sounds like he's gone from like, oh, oops, my TV just turned on. He's gone from Johnny Sins to Ron Jeremy.
Oh, yeah, except a slightly creepier Ron Jeremy, if that's possible.
That's great.
So that was weird. But there were some great spots in there. So there's, we had fingers in bums earlier on, but this was like fingers being snapped in lady parts, which is an interesting spot. I think they call it a clam snap or something. I'm not really sure.
Of course they do. Of course they do.
And there was like, Sexy Eddie has a magnetic penis. So when using the power of his mind, even the ref was like being attracted to his penis.
Makes sense.
Joey Ryan dick flip spot, but like a human dick flip spot.
Yeah, I've seen those before. Yeah. That's old hat at this point.
His chest waxed. So a wax strip spot, which looked pretty painful. And then Priscilla Kelly got to do her tampon spot, and as she pulled out the tampon, Martina pulled out like a used condom and put it on her hand, like a Mr. Socko kind of spot as well. And I think at that precise point, Jim Cornette exploded. So that's good.
Wrestling is dead. Jim Cornette has passed. No, of course, touch wood. But no. Is this the show then where, because I heard something about over the weekend, Priscilla Kelly had tampon druids, much like Joey Ryan's penis druids. Was that part of this one?
How could I forget the tampon? Right. So Joey druids at the beginning, and then they kind of do this bit where they go to the back for some reason, and you're like, wait, is it over? And then they come out as the bloody tampon druids, I didn't even mention the inflatable penis earlier on, which then had like red mist spat on it, so it looked like a broken banjo string penis. There's a lot more to the show than I've covered. But one thing I will say is that 6-person tag at the end was a victory for feminism, and it was really. I thought Joey really booked it well in that he made the guys look like absolute tools and the women look like total bosses. So I thought that was a bit of a nice touch. The women got to win the match and close the show.
Yeah. Which was kind of a theme. I mean, it's really cool because obviously it was the first WrestleMania ever headlined by the women. And, the clusterfuck closed with the women just dominating that clusterfuck rumble and beating the shit out of everyone and tearing apart the ring like Nexus style. And so to hear that Joey Ryan's show did that as well, it's like, these are people with their finger on the pulse. Like, they know what they're fucking doing.
Yeah. No, so it was super fun. So I think there's and then a lot of things for nobody.
Yeah. I'm really looking forward to that. And I guess now the Orange Cassidy one, which Aiden was talking about, I think I'm gonna have to definitely add those to my list because I likes me the weird shit. When you say tampon druids and you say 7 out of 13 falls and you say invisible people fighting, like I'm there. I'm so there for that stuff. I'm weird. I appreciate this. But thanks for letting us know about it. So, but you definitely give it a recommend. Recommend out of 10.
100%. Recommend out of 10. 10 on 10.
Yeah. Awesome. Is there anything else you want to chat about before we let you go? Because we got to get off and do the WWE podcast. So.
Nah, all good, man. Thanks for the thanks for the opportunity to talk about penises.
You're welcome, man. You're welcome. All right, thanks for coming on, dude.
When you're in town, Jules, we'll talk about this more on the Twitterverse. When you're in town, let's go get some vegan food, and we'll talk about vegan things. And then Greg will feel left out because me and Jules can talk about being vegans, and Greg will be like, "I don't know what you're talking about." And you be like, "Because you're not getting enough protein, bro."
And you can sit on the tram tracks and disrupt the peace.
No, we just played Zack Sabre Jr. promos. Promo of the weekend, Zack Sabre Jr. post the G1 card. It was amazing.
I haven't watched.
Is Zack Sabre Jr. also a vegan?
Yes.
Yeah, he's like.
Is.
You should follow
protein.
him. He's got the most amazing
protein.
He's so good. I don't know. Maybe he gets it from Joey Ryan's peanut.
Yeah, when people because I've been asked that twice. I'm like, I've been vegan for like a month, and I've been asked it twice already. I'm like, I get it from the blood of the people who asked me that question.
Yeah, exactly. Let's do that.
We'll do that. We'll do that.
All right, guys. Nice. All right, guys. Thanks a lot for coming on. And Danders, where can people find you?
I can find me on Twitter at Danderfield, on Instagram at Rachel Danderfield, and don't add me on Facebook because we're not friends.
And I am at Greg Unchained on Twitter, at the Greg Unchained on Instagram. We collectively are the B Plus Wrestle on Twitter, the B Plus Wrestling everywhere else. If you want to get involved in these Patreon call-in shows, because only 2 of our Patreons ever show up. So we want to get. That's fine. We love all our Patreons, but if you want to get involved in this, patreon.com/the B Plus. Come on and talk to us about wrestling. We love it, and you love it. So let's do the damn thing. And thank you so much for listening.